Welcome to the Drupal New York City Meetup, September 5th, 2018. This is my first time emceeing this meetup. Please be kind. Thank you, thank you. Please mute your phones when people are talking. Speak into the mics when you're asking questions, and the restrooms are all over this floor. If you keep walking, you can't miss them. It's not a big floor. Okay, connect slide. So we're on Twitter, but more importantly, there is a Slack channel, and I put the links up here. So it's a long link, but I put it at the bottom of every slide, so eventually you'll get it, and you can grab anybody here, and eventually we'll make a better link on the main NYC page. But basically, you know, we're on Slack all the time, so come chat and say hi. Announcements are now. 15 minutes ago. It's a small meetup after Labor Day. We got some talks. We'll say some closing things, and then, as usual, Fastly's, I believe, is still confirmed for tonight to sponsor some food and beverages of all kinds at Bill's Bar and Burger. I thought I hit reload, but we're gonna do Neil first, I think. That's okay. Or I could go first, I guess. It's a lightning talk, like 5 minutes. Get everybody pumped up. Whatever. Yeah, so anyway, in some order, I'm going to talk about this thing I made called Drupal Ops. It's just a name for anybody using Drupal for Ops, like Neil, like Scott. So, and then after that, Neil's going to talk about how Drupal.org is moving its Git infrastructure to GitLab, which is a huge win and really exciting. And then after that, Scott Walpole is going to talk about managing MongoDB with Drupal. So lots of ops management stuff going on. So that's today. Here's all our wonderful organizers. Thank them. None of them are here, except for Chris. But we're filling in because that's who we are. We're community, and we'll make it happen. So feel free to ping them on Slack or wherever and just say thanks, because they did do a lot of work to make this easy. All these slides already existed. I didn't have to do much except read them. Venue, food, drinks, and all sponsored by NBC Universal, so thanks. This is a great space. 30 Rock is pretty awesome to have a meetup here. After party, again, sponsored by Fastly. Come order food and drinks. It's like $500, I believe, so there's room for everybody to get whatever they feel like eating. Feel relatively free to take photos and stuff. You know, be conscious of people that don't want them, but you know, on the meetup page and on Twitter, it's nice to have some things, maybe of the screen or whatever, something interesting about the meetup. Drupal Association helps out everything we do, so try to be a member and, you know, go to events and whatnot to keep them and keep Neil able to help us keep Drupal going. Okay. This month and next, Drupal Europe is happening like next week. Is anybody going? That's going to be fun. Yeah. It's the first non-Drupal con in Europe. It's just Drupal Europe. Bad Camp is next month. Also, it's not up here, but there's a nice camp in Cornell in Ithaca. That's really nice and beautiful. That time of year, I believe it's the 10th and 11th. I'm going. And then New England Drupal Camp's away in November, but we'll remind you about that next meetup. Interested in speaking? We always want more people to come talk about anything really that's interesting, Drupal or Drupal adjacent. Please come up, because we can't just bother everyone. But if you have anything interesting going on, we're going to ask if you come speak about it. It'd be great. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, we now let anybody that is looking for people that has a job, needs work, needs someone to help them on Drupal, can come up to the mic, or I can bring it to them, and they can say what they need. Anybody? We are always hiring at DevShop support, looking for great Drupal people that think they may not have enough experience, because we like smart, bright people that may need new experience. So we're doing interesting things. So if you want to work on Drupal stuff.
I work for Toyota. All the developers, for the most part, work remotely, and we're looking for front end and back end and leads especially. So, if anybody's interested in that kind of opportunity, come talk to me.
I work for Softesco. Currently, we are opening operations in New York. We have clients in North Carolina mainly, and we are looking for someone to help us with account management. So if you know someone who would like to do account management and parse sales, that would be great. We do beside Drupal do Angular in Hyperledger. That's like kind of a blockchain technology. So yeah, that would be it. Thank you.
I also work for iHeartMedia, and we are also hiring 4 people. 2 in California, 1 in New York, 1 in Austin, Texas.
Is that it? Okay. Lots of cool jobs. I think we also let people that are looking for work get up and say, hey, I'm looking, but you should go talk to these people. If you want to do that, you're welcome to. Or just go find these fine people that just spoke. So now we just do a little networking thing. Go say hi to whoever you haven't met yet, and we'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. That's all you get. Thanks, everybody. We're going to start our first talk right about now. All right, Drupal.org. It hosts source code, if you didn't know. All the modules get hosted there on CVS. Oh, wait, no, they changed that. They changed that a couple years ago to Git, and that was pretty good, but now they're upgrading it to GitLab, and Neil's here to talk about it. And I think we're ready to switch over to that input any minute. Thank you, Neil. Take it away.
All right, so I'm Neil Drum. I work on the engineering team at the Drupal Association, where there's 4 of us on the team who run Drupal.org, get a few community contributions here and there. One person's been helping us, volunteer's been helping us a lot with the GitLab migration, Michael Hess. There's some other stuff like that, but otherwise, if something goes offline, we get paged and are generally responsible for the site. And for quite a few years, probably like 4 years now, we've been thinking about moving to more modern developer tools. We switched to Git right around when GitHub was coming into existence. I'm actually sure which one of us was first, but there's a lot more options out there now. GitHub's a lot more usable for communities, open source projects. GitLab is chasing after them, and Atlassian has Bitbucket, which no one gets excited about, but we use it for managing the Drupal.org sites, and like the drush make files, those commits go into a Bitbucket repository because we might be hosting our own infrastructure that builds itself. We've had a lot of things on Drupal.org that aren't necessarily in something like GitHub or GitLab. Issue workflow, we have all these fields. The other stuff, they only have tags. And you kind of have to it's even higher barrier to entry to you get to a new GitHub project. What is their system of tags? Do they have a system of tags? And contribution credit. We built this system to attribute contributions, help give organizations using Drupal, building stuff with Drupal, a bit more incentive to get their name out there and help us understand who contributes to Drupal. And the many-to-one collaboration, especially with the Drupal core issue queue. It's pretty common, it's normal for an issue to be passed around through 2 or 5 or 10 people for review and changes, trying out different approaches and getting something built in Drupal. And that's not something that, you can't do that on GitHub very easily with merge requests, because the merge request is yours. You could fork it and do another merge request, but then there's even more conversation. So we're going to find a way to make that smooth and keep the parts of our collaboration that seem to be working. But we have some issues. Our Git server was a twisted Python script that works. It's pretty stable, but there's no one really knows how it works. We've actually learned a lot about it as part of this migration, because we have to we can put notices in the Git daemon like this migration is coming. So yeah, we actually know how it works now that we're stopping using it. And code review. Nowadays, if you're reviewing a patch on Drupal.org, you have to open the patch in a new tab and think about line numbers and switch back and forth a lot. There's not the easy comment on a line of code that you expect nowadays. There is Dredditor, which this is, which is a browser extension, but that is I'm not sure how actually maintained it is right now, but it's a browser extension. You have to go and find it and know about it. So yeah, overall we want to keep the parts that are working and hopefully use a project which has some momentum behind it, and as GitLab improves things, we'll get those improvements as well. So that means going to depending on which thing you're using, GitLab or GitHub, it's either pull requests or merge requests. I'm pretty sure GitLab is merge requests, and we want to set up the permissions in a way that multiple people can easily collaborate in like a workspace, a repository, and we'll, I'm guessing some conventions will arise around like when it's appropriate to commit to which branch, or commit on top of someone else's changes, and have a, this video that total mock-up that my boss did for Drupal Europe coming up. But initially we'll see the code viewer changing, and to be able to do the basic things, comment on lines of code. And phase 2, that's when we'll get into merge requests, and we'll actually want to integrate this with Drupal.org's issue queue. So some of the collaboration will be on issues will stay on Drupal.org, and then go GitLab and do all of the regular things, inline editing and code review. And where a lot of our work's going to be is the communication between the two. And like if you're looking at an issue, you should be able to see what's happening in the merge request, because it'll be the same split as you see on GitHub has issues and merge requests separate, GitLab as well. Let's see. This is about 2 minutes long. What's going on? Yep. Yeah. So yeah, if you have tooling that, especially if you're making a quick edit, or if you have tooling that can also grab the commits from the web IDE, then everything will work together. And yeah, of course, maintainers will be able to go and review and merge things. You can replace your remembering how to apply a patch to with deciding if you want to do a squash merge, or what's the other type of merge called? Yeah, fast forward merge. Okay. How do I? That was just skipping forward in the video. Sure. Maybe. Don't think Google's very happy with that, whatever I did. Okay. I already gave him access. Okay. So yeah, like most migrations, this ends up being 3 phases. The hard but uninteresting part, migrating the back end. Hopefully you won't notice any changes, and then the interesting, enable new features, and then everything else we didn't do in the first 2 phases. So right now we're in the middle of phase 1. We have kind of somewhere between proof of concept and production code for migrating everything into GitLab, telling it, these are Drupal.org users, enabling single sign-on, syncing all of the commits back and forth. And hopefully it'll be minimal impact for your day-to-day work. The biggest thing you'll notice right away is replacing cget.drupalcode.org, the old repository viewer. We'll be happy to get rid of that and move to GitLab. There are some changes which will unfortunately affect a lot of people. The Git remotes, GitLab just doesn't support the, it almost supports the same Git remotes we had before, but for maintainers and for sandboxes, things are changing, and with GitLab there's another way to do passwords, access tokens, but just set up SSH keys. Those are better anyway. And when in doubt, check the version control tab of a project page. So we've already have those migrations done. Both the new and old work. At some point, the old ones will stop working. And then phase 2 is where the actual interesting stuff will happen. Enabling merge requests, inline code editing. Actually, some of the inline code editing will probably work with phase 1, but only if you're a maintainer of the project. And yeah, code review, and yeah, probably what we'll spend the most time on is Drupal.org issue integration, like what things in do on a merge request should trigger the update to the issue so everyone knows about it, and things like that. And additional features, GitLab CI. We'll probably still use Drupal CI for, it sets up the running tests in containers and running PHP unit in a multi-threaded way. It apparently doesn't work multi-thread out of the box, but that's all currently driven by a Jenkins instance that is, if you put hundreds of thousands of jobs into a Jenkins instance, it does slow down, and we've been running into that. And sometimes it falls over, but it always comes back, so that's okay so far. But yeah, we'll be happy to replace our Jenkins CI for Drupal CI with GitLab to drive things. And yeah, there's other things might be interesting, confidential issues for security, upcoming security releases. Maybe some projects will want to use GitLab issues. And GitLab, they bought Mattermost, another chat tool, so maybe we'll run our own kind of Slack-like chat. And project management boards come with GitLab issues. But yeah, we'll see what people ask for, what we need. So yeah, we're working on phase one, getting everything synced back to Drupal.org, and finding things for GitLab to fix, stuff like we can confirm a user through their API, but we can't confirm their email addresses. We're not going to send everyone another confirm your email. So tentatively, at least one of the things we need fixed is in GitLab's September release. They're on an every 6 weeks release schedule. So we're waiting until at least then to deploy when things are working. And we have everything we need from GitLab. It'll be a few weeks after that. And I believe September release is mid-September. And I'm on vacation then, so probably not until October. And follow along with the progress on Drupal org. The Drupal org blog on Drupal.org. Post monthly what we've been working on, and a lot more words about the other options, like why we almost picked Bitbucket and all of that. And of course, support the Drupal Association, keep us paid and keep the servers turned on. Any questions? Yeah. Oh yeah, Mike. Do you have?
Hi, I'm curious about the credit system. They stay the same, like the current infrastructure, or it's going to be integrated differently? The credits, issue credits.
Yeah, since the issues are staying on Drupal.org, all of that will remain. And yeah, part of pinging GitLab merge requests pinging back to Drupal.org will probably have to be if someone works on the merge request and hasn't commented on the issue, put some sort of comment in there so they can collect their credit.
I'm wondering, I don't know if you've gotten this far, like looked into enough, but is it going to be possible to have the sort of inline editing and commenting and GitLab type features directly integrated into the Drupal issue queue, or is it going to be something where it has to link out to the GitLab page?
Almost certainly link out. GitLab, I don't think they like us trying to pick and choose bits and pieces, merge requests but not issues of their product. their product is very monolithic. They want to do everything related to code collaboration, and they're getting into more and more of the ops things with their CI servers. So yeah, I don't think they'll enable something embeddable, but maybe we can find some tricks around that. Or the community edition is open source, so there's some open source parts of GitLab. We'll be using the enterprise edition, I think probably mostly because of the single sign-on, but they're giving us a license to enterprise edition, so we'll use it.
Do you guys have any plans of doing continuous build automation with GitLab? Build automation?
So we'll keep running our Drupal Ci service, which does PHP unit testing. So yeah, we'll keep doing Drupal CI, maybe through GitLab CI, and when GitLab CI is turned on, we will we have the option to provide more types of testing next to Drupal CI, so Behat and other kind of testing frameworks. Of course, testing is something that's our main. That's probably the most expensive part of our infrastructure right now. Drupal CI costs about $2,000 to $3,000 a month for AWS credits. So we won't necessarily encourage that to grow too fast if we can't at the same time make what we're running more efficient. And yeah, we do have, actually I think we stopped using spot requests since AWS moved to per second billing. Made things a bit more simple for us. But yeah, those are the sorts of things we'll be considering. Yeah, I think that might be all the questions. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Pugh. He's gonna click that for me. This is a weird thing I did. I found a Twitter account at Drupal Ops. Just click those are my slides there. Yeah. It's public. Give me a second. Try again, reload it. No, the link. Oops. Hold on. It's over there. You actually log in. Why don't it just be public share? Oh. It's a different link, I guess. No, it should just be public.
No, because it wants to use the account since it's already logged in.
Oh. Yeah, paste. No, that's the login link. Go back to the. Yeah, copy that. This? Yeah, that's what I just did. Anyone with the link can view my foot. All right, Scott. We're gonna go with you first. You ready, Scott? Mongo. Scott will be right back. No, I do. So plug in your computer. Tell a joke.
Oh, there's stickers.
Oh, I didn't name it yet. Reload. All right. First page. Lightning. All right, this is gonna be really fast. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. This is about Drupal Ops. Drupal is good for ops. You may have heard of DevOps, Systems Ops, blah blah ops, no ops. Are there any others? Do ops. That's a good one. Drupal is good for ops. Every Drupal contributor uses Drupal for ops. How? SSH key. They upload their SSH key into this module. Drupal stores it. And they do interesting things with it with Git. Neil can tell you all about it. You put your SSH key in there. You're using Drupal to manage ops. It puts your SSH key on a server somewhere, right? I have the high score for most SSH keys. Is that true? Wow, that's awesome. All right, so Drupal Ci, that's integrated with Drupal.org. It's like giving you test results and doing all these crazy things. You do a git push or create a new issue, and all these things happen on servers. So that's Drupal for ops. Drupal Ci, there's the documentation on that. So Drupal is used for hosting Drupal also for a long time. Ager has been hosting Drupal almost 11 years now. That's a Drupal site. You press node add site, it creates a new site, Drupal site for you. So Drupal making Drupal, Drupal for ops. Acquia Cloud Site Factory, basically the same thing. It's a Drupal site that creates other Drupal sites to help you manage other Drupal sites. Drupal ops. This thing, WF Tools. Dave Hall came here to New York City many, many years ago to talk about it. It was another Drupal distribution integrating with Jenkins and all sorts of other things to manage sites. So Drupal for ops. DevShop is my thing, very similar to Ager. You get push, you deliver sites, you press a button, you get another site, manages the servers, manages the sites, data, blah, 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 Drupal for ops. Drupal is good for ops. We made a Twitter account for it. We got 155 followers in like 3 days. That was pretty cool. It's not a toolkit. I said, oh, it's software. It'll be software eventually. There's software already out there for Drupal for ops, like SSH key module and all these other things. So this is like a community or something, right? On Drupal.org, oh, that's an incorrect URL, /project/Drupal Ops. You'll find this page. Yeah, don't take a picture of a bad URL. Drupal for Ops page, you could just Google it. It's actually probably pretty easy to find at this point. We listed a bunch of good reasons why You know, Drupal's got great ID management, access control, SSH keys, all the data and all the things you need to do to extend it. You can kind of build any dashboard, anything for any crazy ops management tool you want to build with all of this stuff. A history of success, because there are thousands and thousands of sites using Eager and other things. Acquia Site Factory has thousands and thousands of sites on it, so Drupal for Ops is proven. Because it's all in Drupal, it kind of makes it fun. Like my whole application, I've been talking about this a lot with like the Amazy.io people and all these other things, even like Pantheon and all these places, they're really cool. But like my entire application is just in Drupal. So like all the logic for moving the code and cloning and creating databases, all that moving parts, all just in Drupal modules in one place. So it's really neat to just have everything in one place. You can kind of build your app to do exactly what you want without worrying about a million services and other things. So what is this really? So I've been making modules that do these kinds of things for many years with Eager and other things, and trying to figure out like how do we bring this into the future? What cool product name is going to grab everybody's attention to bring us all to collaborate? Finally, we can all collaborate on this ops thing, and it's got to have a cool name, and everyone's got to get behind it. And that's been such a struggle for so many years that just a few weeks ago I was like looking on Twitter and I was like, Drupal Ops isn't taken, so I grabbed the space and I just was like, okay, here's all the things that I've already been doing in different namespaces, but like how we could all convert all of them to just kind of this Drupal Ops namespace, because there's a lot of people building like SaaS products, and like Mani, for example, works on a SaaS company that has like 6,000 or 7,000 Drupal sites that they have. So what I'm thinking is all of these modules can be kind of separate, decoupled tools that you could just drop into any Drupal site to get that particular functionality. Like if you just want to manage servers, you can use the servers and cloud modules just to have the server node type and not have to get all the dependencies on other things. So I linked every existing module that we already have in here, so like Eager Cloud, Eager Ansible, the Docker stuff, the Rancher stuff. I've already done like all of this in the other brands under the other umbrellas of Eager and DevShop and all these things. So eventually, I think, we can kind of refactor them, decouple them from each other so they can be installed independently, and we can all start to build more interesting Drupal ops management things in Drupal. In addition to that, there's also, this is all on the Drupal.org project page. There's users and tasks and sites and distributions and projects and teams, and basically everything you can think of, whether it's Amazy or Pantheon, all uses these essential entities to kind of manage their systems. So eventually, these will all work. Drupal Ops servers, I already went ahead and created as an example. So Drupal is good for ops. That's a lightning talk tip. Say it 3 times or more, and you'll get people to remember. I can thank my friend Alan for that one. Drupal Ops. Join us. We want your stories. We want to hear anytime you've ever used Drupal for ops. Like, come contribute, post an issue, or post a link to your modules that you wrote, or anything you've ever done about using Drupal for ops, and it's going to be fun. So thanks. Any questions?
Who is we?
Who is we? Yes, anybody using Drupal for ops. It's like the Drupal community.
And are there
Eager community plus the Site Factory community plus the...
so you've been talking to other contributors and stuff, and so this is a collaboration. Cool.
So I don't know. We'll see. But I've been talking to many other people in the space for many years, so it's like, wow. So anyway, yeah, I think, I don't know. It's like a non-brand is the idea. Like Drupal is just Drupal. It's not like some agency's tool. It's not like somebody's trying to win over somebody with marketing. It's just DevOps, but with Drupal. And so I'm thinking maybe that is like a nice way to get the community kind of more collaboration mindset. Any more questions? What? Oh, I didn't, sorry.
There have been certain topics that have broached issues that I'm interested in. So my question is, can you give us an example where Drupal Ops might streamline or enhance the development of a mobile app that interfaces with the website that runs on Drupal, either back-end, front-end?
if it depends on what that app does, but say the mobile app did something else, like you signed up or pressed a button and some other jobs kicked off somewhere else, like, I mean, the ops thing is basically like people that are building platforms or like selling a website as a service, for example. But the point, yeah, basically, the Drupal, one of the reasons Drupal is an interesting platform for this is it's an API. So you can have a REST API that the Drupal site receives requests to create a server or create a website or like create a user, you know, and put them in a system somewhere, you know. So you can interact with it. A mobile app could interact with that in that way. That's yeah. All these repeatable, all these things are like repeatable actions. We're all doing the same things over and over again. So by bringing the open source thing, fusing it with the Drupal community, and kind of we can all share. Any other questions? Great. Next up. MongoDB is a great database. It also requires learning a new syntax. For some, that is not an issue. But for most of us, it's just another task. That is why Scott created Opsid. Yes? Using Drupal, you can edit a MongoDB instance directly. You can also create forms with key-level ACL, add Drupal core's features, and you have a powerful tool, no compass required. That sounds very interesting. I can't wait.
So my presentation today just happened to be pure synchronicity that happened to be mirrored with his. So as often things are, they're a journey to get somewhere. And Opsid is something I've been working on for many, many, many years, before Drupal, before the PC. And, okay. Oh. I'm going to have to plug it in. That would be helpful. Okay, we're back again. All right. So once upon a time, back in the 80s, I was a hobby distributor. I distributed Dungeons & Dragons and role-playing games and model kits to comic book stores and hobby stores around the country. And I started to import kits from Japan and Germany. In particular, I did what's called garage kits. Those are low-run kits, usually done by fans, vinyl, resin, a few other materials, vacuum form. They're not the big kits you get from Rebel. And back then, there was mail order, and that's when you sent out catalogs of postcards to get people's attention. And I realized that if someone collected a Godzilla kit and they collected garage kits, I could spend more to reach them because they're more likely to buy it. And that's actually a picture of the first kit that I ever imported from Japan, a Billiken Godzilla kit. And I had a copy machine. Sorry, a little bit sensitive. I had a copy machine that allowed me to change toner cartridges, so I could have brown, blue, and red, I think, the colors. And I can make fairly nice looking flyers by working on that. And I was working on a system so I don't have to use offset printing to get custom mailings out to people. And I realized that if I'm going to do this, I need a system to categorize all the products I have. And I named it because you have to have a good name first. And I know an omni-product system distribution, or Opsid. And I realized it made everything a SKU. So I started thinking more of data. And that was really the beginning of my love of data, because I think data is the greatest thing there is. And I realized I needed a means to assign attributes uniquely to a product. And I knew then how to write COBOL, BASIC, and Fortran. I've probably forgotten almost all of that by now. And I've written a few complex programs in the past. So I decided I'm going to computerize, and I'm going to go get myself a mini computer. Found one, was $40,000 back then, which is about $97,000 today. And it needed about 10,000 hours of programming, which is way above my head. So I tried to do it manually by using index cards. I punched the bottom into categories and so forth. And Great idea, just way too much work for one person ever to do. Now, once again, I put a little bit on pause on this, and now we're in the 90s. And I was sharing warehouse space with a comic distributor in Brooklyn. They had a computer back then. A PC might have been like $3,000. So that was quite a bit of money. And I started working with, I don't know if anyone remembers QA or Paradox. And those are two early database systems. And I started to work with them. I really couldn't get things going because I was just teaching myself as it goes along. A little later, I had my own PC, and I got a piece of software called Tornado. Tornado allowed you to put little index cards on your computer, virtual index cards, make any notes, and search everything by keywords. It was great because it would return all of them, but it would never tell you if you had duplicates. It would never tell you a way of reporting of how many things. It just, here are all the cards to have your notes on it. But it still inspired me. Go a little bit forward, now we're there into the 90s, and we have the internet. And I was, wow, I mean, this is made for OpsID. I can now target people directly for what they want. I can go about that, and I start buying domain names, and it's going to have a big mail order company. And once again, I tried to put it together, and it was too much work, building it from scratch. In the 90s, I started discountjewelry.com. If you know anything about the jewelry industry, that's tons of data about the jewelry, especially diamond rings, the facets, the settings, and so forth. I found one company called Live Technology that was perfect. Actually, I built something that would have been similar to Grubhub back then called Menus at Hand, and I was able to add attributes at will to any object I wanted to. I didn't have to do like a normal SQL database, add everything to it. Unfortunately for me, I went to launch Menus at Hand when I got up in the morning, walked in my living room, looked out to the Manhattan skyline, and sadly there was a big flames in the distance, and that was 9/11. So it kind of hurt my business and couldn't really launch. Then I started getting to CMSs, and getting to where I'm getting to now. I play with PHP Cake, Nuke, Plano. I originally got into Joomla. Surprised Forrest left. He got me into Drupal. He got me away from the Joomla side to the Drupal side. But I still had DB issues. I still couldn't do things as flexible as I wanted. I got frustrated, and again, I put it on hold. And yes, here comes MongoDB. The answer to my data dreams. It's like Tornado, but only better. It worked. And it's great, except it's hard to use. Most of it's command line, and you have to remember every little thing. If you forget a semicolon or a colon, or you forget something, it breaks, and you get upset, and you don't move on. And there's no CMS for it. Now, Drupal has everything I wanted in my system. It had ACL, has content management, it does a lot of different things like in tools, and it has a strong API connection. And the only thing it didn't have is the ability to do the data the way I wanted to. So what I do, I combine the two. I designed an interface to allow Drupal to manage the MongoDB, and this way I have the ACL. And then I realized, well, let's say I want to give someone a job of changing prices or changing the descriptions. I don't want them mucking about and screwing up all the other fields. I want to give them ACL, a key level access. I also want to be able to take everything back in and its contents. So I can have a couple different levels of management. And if I want to make this as a software as a service, I have the ability to have many, many sites running from this because the MongoDB could be anywhere. It does not have to be on the server. It's not attached. It's not part of Drupal. Drupal still uses SQL because it does it very well. And so you can have a local database that's MongoDB. You can even use MongoDB's Atlas service. You can remote DB with SSH into it. You can use the MongoDB ACL if you want, or public key. So now the OpsID stands for Omni-Product System Data. I want to give you a little roll-up of how I got what I'm doing and why I went ahead and do all this. So now it's demo time. So I'm going to log in as a data manager. Actually remember my password. So if you're looking here, there are a couple tabs open. The first one is the MongoDB tab. I'm going to show you. And from here, you can see the first couple ones I've added, but I can add another MongoDB if I want. And yes, I see a typo. I'm very good at typos. Matter of fact, when my people who work for me have typos, I get upset, say that's my job. So here you can name your database. You can add a group. You can select a group name, and if you use a group name, the admin of that group has the privileges to work on everything below it. But this way, one website, one Drupal instance can have lots of different people groups working on it. You can put the IP address here of what it is, specify the ports, the name. You want to perform authentication, database, and you want to use SSH tunnel. One of the things I will be adding into this, and I was planning to do this, is to be able to add it so that this can generate a public key that you could put on your MongoDB instance server so it can access if you want to use that. There is a thing with MongoDB, is depending on what type of authentication you're using, is how you connect. So it has to be very specific. That was a bug that took me a while to fix, and I fixed it at MongoDB World when someone told me what the problem was. So now I want to connect to a database. When I connect to the database, you immediately see all the collections. And this is where it gets really interesting, because I can edit my MongoDB in the standard format we're used to seeing, where you see each of the documents. And you can go add your documents here if you want. You can change the key value if you want. You can change the start dates. You can add anything you want. It gives you a more simplistic way of editing it. That's still something that's a little bit for a more advanced person, but it's still there. Okay. You can also add a sub-document, and you can update keys. And you can add new keys. That's where it begins. Okay. The next thing we can do is which I like to look in here, is I go to Data Form Manager. I get a list of collections. And let's say I'm going to do one for orders. Okay. This is a form that gives me a standard form. And this is our own Jacob Rockowitz. This is web forms in Drupal 8. This does it dynamically. So no longer do you have to pre-describe what you need in fields. One of the abilities of this is it doesn't matter. Any MongoDB instance can be brought in and forms made instantly on this. Now, as I said before, let's say you want to have the ability to create a brand new form. So go to data form. Sorry, we go to not what I want. Oh, there we go. I'm going to add a data form. And in this data form, I can give it a name. So we'll just call this NBC. This will give the link for that. We have it out later. And let's say all you want this person to do on this form was to fill out the customer's name and the price. That's all you want this thing to do. Okay. And now I want to assign a data form. I can select the data form I want to do, which is NBC, and I can assign it to a user, or even create a new user. When you create a new user, they will get an email of their username and password to log into the Drupal site. So I'm trying to think of all the little variations to have it, to make this so the mundane, a regular user can use this without having to know anything, and trying to make a flexible tool. Among features we built into this is a search. Who here has used MongoDB? Okay. So knowing searching in MongoDB means you have to know the syntax. So let's say I want to just do, I don't know if I'll find anything with this. Okay, I'm going to use prize. I know that word existed already. Okay. This searches through every document and will return to you anytime the word prize or that string appears anywhere in a document. So this is good for people who are trying to look for something, they don't know where it is, because you have no idea how a MongoDB document can be created, because it has variations because of the flexibility. Because the MongoDB is a NoSQL database. There's no structure to it. So imagine trying to find something without a structure. If you look here, there are lots of little things here. You can create a subgroup. You can export your database. So if you're done working here, so let's say you want to isolate this from your actual real instance, you can import it, work on it, then export it and import it to wherever you're working on. Gives you security. You can import it. If I go back here to MongoDB, you see a little green dot shows up, says that's the one I'm connected to. This will give you a list of data forms you have permission, but remember, you can create sub-users and sub-sub-users, subgroups, so you have all the flexibility of MongoDB, of our Drupal, with the ability to work with your database, and gives you a lot of flexibility. And let's see. Let's go to this one. See what we have here. More of the same thing. I just throw this up because I didn't want to break any real data that we're working on right now, which is mostly what I have. Settings. The other nice things we have is a collection relations. So let's say you have a collection in MongoDB called categories, and then you had products. Well, you wanted to tell the product, select what category that product belongs to, so you can do this in a relationship here. Where you list the collections you have, and you say, okay, I want you to take this collection called categories, and I want you to put it into this form, and that way you can select it. So now you see in collection, I have a collection relation, and I can choose what I want. I can use a drop down or radio box, and I'll put that all together. So let's do drop down, we do select all, and call this test 34. And now we have a category system. So why did I build this? I told you in the beginning it was from something I worked on many, many years ago. But I can use the same system to help me build out a CRM, to help me with e-commerce websites, and about any data manipulation I want. Coming soon is the ability to import a database and then remap it. So if you import a CSV, you can decide how to change it and how to move it to something else, drop it back to MongoDB, and if you want it to still be exported to a SQL instance, that way it could be used for anything else. So this has really become a data management tool. So you can do what you want, because I don't know about you, but I've gotten data from companies, it's horrendous. They put all 3 dimensions into one column. or like the jewelry company uses SS for both stainless steel and sterling silver. Now, and variations thereof. They use inches, they use English and metric measurements in the same on the same record. So I'm trying to make a tool that makes it easier for people to do things, so you can either have other people do the work who are not experts, or to avoid mistakes. So that's basically what I built, and I'll be using it for my own websites in the coming weeks, as I've spent a lot of time getting here, and hopefully sometime next year I'll start rolling this out for other users. I have one client using this. They don't know what the structure of their data will look like, so this was perfect. They don't know what they're going to have next, so I can build a control panel or a portal to maintain and work on their data, and no one has to go in and rebuild forms every time they add another item to their list. It's for a company that trains people, bartenders. So you imagine you add a new cocktail, you add a new ingredients, how do you put that in, how do you do deletions? So any questions?
Do you have anything to look across different multiple collections, like so MongoDB's lookup, like for the equivalent of a join, right?
What do you mean?
Do you have a feature to search across two different collections?
Yes.
Like a join. Yeah.
So in other words, what you're asking is, right now I have a straight search. So can I do a Boolean search for prize and something else?
To search from two different collections.
Right.
So
So
if I have a collection of users, right?
right.
If I have a collection of users and I have a collection of activities, and I want to query all the activities from this collection of activities where user ID
Yeah.
is something. So usually in MongoDB you use lookup.
Right.
Lookup. Do you have the equivalent?
That's coming. To get to here has been a lot of pain and suffering, trying to get people to understand what I'm talking about, and just interfacing with do things. Drupal 8 helped a lot. I built one in 7. It had a lot of problems. Drupal 8 with the web forms really synced a lot of things I needed to be done with it. And the API in 7 was half-baked. It was never finished. So we finished our own version, got it to work, and now we're trying to deal with security and other issues, because I can't get this out to the public if it's not ultimately extremely secure. Questions?
Do you think it's ever possible that this could get to the point where MongoDB could actually become an option to install Drupal on?
Well, supposedly Drupal 8 was supposed to have native MongoDB. And as I found with most of the CMSs out there, that only happens if every other person follows the database extraction layer to the infinite. So that makes it difficult to do. I think, yes, I think this could help move it along, especially if I can get this out and roll it out to the public. I mean, there's something to say about structure of the modules and so forth that you won't have control over. But then again, MongoDB just makes things so much easier in scalability. As Chris can tell you the capabilities of Mongo, it's great. And if you have a database-driven website, you can now shard and build up your database structure in a much more efficient manner than you can with MySQL. MySQL tends to, you can cluster MySQL and you can get going, and my business partner, Robert, he's the man at that. But yeah, I think it could have an impact maybe later in 8 or possibly in 9. First, I want to get this rolled out and into the public and find out all the bugs that I didn't think of yet. So I'm sure there are things that people can break that I haven't broken yet. Any other questions? Okay, well, hopefully I educate somebody about some new things. It was different than my normal talks. If you have any questions or you're interested in working on this, because I really think this has a lot of potential, especially when I meet this with the CRM I'm working on. You just think if you had a CRM, you can add people's name, add attributes to someone's name dynamically, the ability to do that. Such as, I like to do kayaking. Where would you normally put that in a field of a CRM? You add that, and then you'll be able to see the search on that. So that's what we're doing now, and put it back to John.
Thank you, Scott. That's our meetup. Unless somebody else wants to jump in and improv a talk. Next meetup is Wednesday, October 3rd. Same place, same time. Make sure you get your name in there the day before. Security is very serious. People didn't get in today, so just make sure your name is in the meetup group the day before. Go ahead and just put it in there the second that we put the event online. So like we said before, we always want speakers. We always love more organizers to help and members, so please come join in and help if you want. And yeah, we're all gonna go here afterwards. It's just over the plaza. You can follow the crowds, or just Google Map it, Bill's Bar and Burger. And that's it. We actually don't have to leave until 8:45, I think. And that's almost 45 minutes. So let's keep meeting and greeting and eating pizza. Thanks.